Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
Making a 911 call on your iPhone, well, Apple will automatically share your location with emergency responders. And this is a case where you don't actually mind that Apple is sharing your information. It's also throwing a bone to authorities after the company last week said that it would close a loophole that had allowed law enforcement to hack into your iPhone. So it's Apple, taking away and giving now.
I think that's your opinion, that you wouldn't mind having the location shared, especially with everything that's been going on this year with Cambridge Analytica and Facebook. I feel like people would even look at something like this skeptically, where even if you're in an emergency, how would this be used against me? How could this be hacked? What's Apple doing with this information? And I think Apple tends to have a better reputation when it comes to security and privacy. And even that kind of shows what 2018 is turned into as far as like being really attentive to privacy from a consumer perspective.
To be fair, Apple has been doing this since 2015 in some format. What they're doing with this iOS 12 update is really bringing it across the board and adding a new technology that allows for the iPhone to securely share your location data. So, in Apple's defense, it seems like they're working to, while share your information, do it in a way that's secure.
Yeah, and as far as like sharing your private information or your location, this to me seems like a much more useful thing. Like, I'm in an emergency, emergency responders need to know where I am. That's much more relevant in my mind to, I don't know, what Foursquare would do, or Swarm, or whatever those things are, where it's just sharing your location for the hell of it.
All right, next up, JPEG turns 25 this year.
Oh my God.
Happy birthday, JPEG.
Way to go, JPEG.
For your present, you will likely get pushed off as a successor comes in to take your place. There are a number of different formats. Stephen Shanklin profiled JPEG XL. This is a format that promises it to be 50 to 60% more efficient. Basically,
cut file size by 60%.
60%.
Which means that it will improve your cloud storage. You'll have more data space on your phone. I didn't think I cared about JPEGs until I read Steven's story, so you should check it out.
Well, look, I think everyone who runs in a situation where their phone runs out of space because they've got all these photos jammed into them is going to want to relate to this. This basically doubles the capacity of your phone for the same quality of photos.
Right.
Now, it's not all just pure benefit. Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of confusion. I think Apple, Google, Microsoft, Mozilla, a bunch of other companies are working on rival standards beyond JPEG XL. There's a offshoot of the height format that Apple has already put into their iPhones. There's another one by Mozilla. There are tons of different ones that really can cause some confusion if folks don't actually support all these different formats.
Yeah, and it's a good point that JPEGs do need an overhaul. They're 25 years old.
Yep.
I mean, what sort of, other than the headphone jack, what sort of technology ends up living that long? But at the same time, I think consumers really hate standards wars.
Oh, yeah. All right, last week's merger of AT&T and Time Warner have net neutrality proponents freaking out. This obviously came a few days after the net neutrality rules came off the books. So a lot of folks are concerned about what a company with this combined power can do.
Let's talk about zero rating.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that and with the time we have left.
Zero rating is a practice of offering you a service without it eating into your data plan. And so that sounds great on the surface, but if you're a company like AT&T, you've got a service called DirecTV Now, and you push that as a data-free product that doesn't hurt your data plan at all, you're more likely to use that than, say, Netflix or YouTube, which does eat into your data count. So the concern there is that it gives AT&T an unfair competition or unfair advantage over some of these other services, and in particular, smaller no-name services that are just getting started, right? So again, this is the idea that everything has to be treated equally, and in this case, AT&T isn't. And so it's interesting to note the FCC under the Obama administration actually looked at this practice and really raised some flags about it. But once the new FCC administration under Trump came in with Ajit Pai as chairman, they basically did away with that investigation.
Oh, thank you for that info.
All right, for more of these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
Thanks for listening. I really tried to cram in a lot there.
Yeah, you know a lot about zero rating.
Did we? I think we were like 30 seconds over.
You're a little more than 30
I was trying to
seconds
speed
over.
talk through net neutrality.
I
which
didn't
is
even
hard.
get to my complaint about the fact that I don't actually think that on the surface,
Yeah.
that's a consumer benefit.
Absolutely.
I can totally
Absolutely.
appreciate the idea that smaller services might be it might be a little bit more competitive or a little more difficult for them to break in.
Yep.
But that was going to be difficult to begin with because they have to go up
Yes,
against so many other
then
juggernauts.
you've got another hurdle that's thrown in. It's because of the fact that the AT&Ts and Verizons of the world have so much power. They own both the
Sure,
content
but-
plus the pipes connecting you.
Yeah, but like, what's next? What, are you gonna tell Amazon to stop offering different Prime perks? Like that's a good enough service. Stop doing it. You're being too good to your customers. That is unfortunate.
Well, if it does it in a way that I think it takes advantage of your power to put other companies trying to offer similar services at a disadvantage because of the infrastructure you own. I think the conversation would change if it owned the post office, right?
Oh, well, wait until later this year. Jeff Bezos has a lot of money to spend.
That's true. Well, he is promising to
Give it all away.
give it all away,
or
do
give
something
away
with
some of
philanthropy.
it.
So
Wait
maybe
until,
his idea of charity is to buy the post office.
You know what? That is not the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Bail's free, everybody.
That that could maybe happen. No, absolutely not. Anyway, we should get to questions.
Yeah, Brian.
And I would also love to hear from the chat as far as this Apple 911 service. Is this something that you would use? Are you excited about it? Does it give you pause? I'd love to hear people's opinions about it because it might be a privacy issue.
To be clear, I don't think it's something you can switch off. I think this is like no choice. You're like automatically sharing your data as soon as you make a 911 call.
Interesting.
So it's not like I don't think there's an
Not an
option.
opt-in thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think. It's
I
something
want to
like that.
know if that was something that Apple opted to do and offer as a feature, if you will, or was that something that the government kind of got involved in and would, like, where did the source from?
That's a good
great,
question.
Yeah, it's a great question.
We don't know.
I don't know idea. I know they started offering it 3 years ago. I just don't know if it was done at the behest of law enforcement or if it was done as a feature that Apple was promoting.
I know
Yeah.
there's certainly going to be people who are just in general opposed to the idea of location sharing at large. I think this is one of the instances where there is a positive outlook to it. We do have to be careful, of course, because having that information available, everything can be abused, and we are a terrible species. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I want that put on a t-shirt. And I don't know. I think that there's a lot of potential here, but there is some confusion in the chat about exactly what this means. Matthew Datcher asks, wasn't sharing location an issue with E911 for a while now?
Yeah, I think that was an issue, as in there was some debate over it, whether the sharing location sharing.
Yes, right.
You know what, I'll be honest, I don't know enough about I mean, I know what E911 is. I didn't know that there was a debate over location sharing. I thought that was one of the primary features that needed to be put into E911 is the ability to share location, because cell towers aren't always 100% accurate, and it's not as reliable as, say, calling from a landline, in which they can pinpoint your location exactly. That was the point of E911, is to make 911 calls on your cell phone as location-based as calling them from a landline.
Right. Interesting.
We have some really well thought out comments here from Ned669. I'm not sure if I've seen you before in the chat, sir. Do you guys recognize him?
No, I
No,
have
I
never
don't.
heard of Ned 669.
So if you're a newbie, welcome. It's great to have you.
Welcome.
Fantastic
Hello.
comments here. He says, I think this is a good thing for safety. Makes me wonder how they'll know something is wrong without already listening. I think that YouTube should branch into a security service. People could live stream to secure servers that could also be connected to first responders and train moderates watching. These moderators could be AI. The video could be extremely helpful with doctors and problem solving if they saw what was happening as it unfolded, kind of thing, like a gunshot wound to the who knows where. That's me riffing here. With training, AI may be able to spot problems. Most illnesses have some form of external indicators, whether change in habits or visual indicators like color, for example. This is incredibly well thought out, and I think we all just lost our job to Ned.
Wow.
Well, I don't know that anybody thinks of YouTube in that way. And I also
I
know,
do like the
I think it'd be
idea
hard
of
to
utilizing.
justify-
very interesting
I do like the
idea.
idea of utilizing AI to to recognize that, to like automatically recognize certain scenarios or certain medical issues.
eh.
I don't know if it's
They brought
if
that
it's
up
doable.
with the Amazon Echo Look. They brought up the idea that if you're going to have a camera that has certain AI functionality, and this
Yeah.
one was to tell you whether your outfit looked good or not,
Right.
versus one or the other, and people started to freak out about that, and they
Yep.
said eventually this is going to be able to tell if you have skin cancer, or tell if you are depressed, or certain visual cues on your face. There were all these different types of concepts that were being thrown out there that weren't embedded into the technology, that weren't actually being used. So it goes back to the privacy issue.
Yeah,
I would say.
yeah. There's
that-
definitely going to be this constant push and pull between what it can do and what we're actually comfortable with.
Right. And whether it does it automatically, like every single time you point a camera at somebody, or they notice that, oh, like Ben didn't eat his breakfast this morning.
Yeah, I don't know if
Which
YouTube
I
wants to
did
get into
not.
this business.
Ben, your
It's the
mother
most
would be
important meal
so
of the day.
disappointed in you.
Yeah. That is too bad. But anyway, Ned,
I'm gonna
that
get
is-
you a granola bar. I'll be right back.
Thank you, Ned. Thank you very much for the comment, though.
Yeah,
it's
that was
definitely very interesting. Good
yeah,
to
definitely
chew
well
on.
thought out. Really impressed. Thank you.
I think this is about the 911 feature, but I'm not entirely certain, since 911 specifically implies the American-based emergency service, although other nations have their own different version of it. So,
Right.
Denston asks, how many countries will this feature be available, and what will the process time be?
I think this is just for the U.S.
And it's when iOS 12 gets released,
Yep.
which is later this year.
Yeah, usually in the fall.
Yeah.
In in alignment with the new iPhone. So yeah, definitely in the U.S. We don't know what happened. I mean, there are, as you mentioned, as correctly mentioned, there are multiple.
Right, thank you. It's very important.
There are multiple different kinds of emergency services. And 911 isn't universal. So right now, I think it's just yeah.
I think so.
Don't
I
interrupt
believe
his
so,
breakfast,
but
Roger.
look, if it saves like one life,
Hey, where's mine?
then Apple should, I don't know, bring it to more countries, and there's no reason why they wouldn't.
Well, would the U.S. just be like the testing grounds for this as of yet?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't know. It's just I know it's been integrated into the system here in the U.S., and I don't know what Apple's deployment is elsewhere. I imagine they do similar things in other countries, but it's just I'm not sure.
Yeah, the announcement today was more U.S. specific, but definitely appreciate the question. We'll try to look into what other global things there are, like how it impacts globally, and we'll have much sharper answers now that Brian threw some food at us.
As always, I love it when we actually have like kind of good news, something that's actually forward thinking instead of just another stupid app. So, just
For sure.
my perspective. Oh wait, hold on a second. I wanted to talk a little bit about this compression format, because there are so friggin' many out there that are trying to come down the pipeline. This just reminds me of HD DVD versus Blu-ray. Are we gonna have
Yeah.
that same kind of showdown here?
Oh yeah, I can imagine. We have got a bunch of companies, large companies, all with the vested interest in making sure like that next standard is their standard. So
Yeah,
you can
but
definitely
why? Like, why do they care whether it's going to be JPEG XL or AVIF or whatever?
There are a number of reasons. The underlying technology may work better with what their systems handle. They may have vested interest because they've got patents related to it. There's at least one that's got licensing revenue attached to it, and so there's definitely a monetary motive there. So there are just a number of these factors. I think it's going to get pretty messy. Fortunately, in the meantime, we do have JPEG to kind of give us this universal standard, but it could be a little weird. We're always seeing some of that weirdness now with that HEIF standard, HEIF, I don't really know how to pronounce it, that Apple pushes on their iPhones, and so they're not 100% compatible with other devices, right? They have to get formatted into like AVI or MPEG, I believe, for it to work elsewhere. So it's just going to be bumpy for a while.
Yeah. It's a transitionary
But
period.
I feel like the end result is totally worth it. Like having more space or having a more space efficient format is really the ultimate goal for a lot of these formats.
I take so many more photos now that I have a smartphone, and it's not like I just got a smartphone. That's been going on for years, and you just end up with like thousands and thousands of photos.
Yeah.
So there needs to be some sort of solution where it does get properly compressed. I mean, like having an Android makes it easier. It all gets pushed over to Google Photos
Right.
with unlimited storage. But when I did have an iPhone, there was always that push and pull of trying to
I mean,
unload it onto
I
your
use Google
phone.
Photos too. I have an iPhone, and it pushes to Google Photos as well. So it's become my kind of standard storage area for photos because they can run searches on it. It's a lot more convenient to use than iCloud Photos or Apple Photos.
Yeah.
Roger, speak up. The mic's losing you.
Sorry,
Stop whispering at Ben. You're on a show.
my voice is starting to give out. I'm trying to push it for the last few minutes here.
All right. We are almost out of time. Srinjoy asks, isn't PNG already trying too hard to replace JPEG? How's that working out for him?
Who? Sorry.
PNG.
Oh, PNG.
PNG has been around for a couple of years, and it does crop up in my life every now and then. I can't say that I know who's behind PNG, but I can't. I also don't believe that it's as new as some of these other standards that are starting to come out now.
Totally. These standards that are coming out are like not even in. They're not in play. Like you can't use them yet. So PNG's been around for a while. I don't think even our systems are able to handle PNG.
I keep having to reformat PNG stuff.
So sorry, no PNG. You missed the boat, man.
I mean, PNG preserves alpha channel, so I use it a lot here when we're doing graphic work.
I don't even know what that means. I seriously don't know. What does that mean? Is that English?
Transparency. Transparency.
Oh, okay.
So, just
Well, transparency is one of the things that some of these new formats are dealing with as well. So
it uses blockchain. That's what you're telling me.
yeah, you might as well.
is that the new Bitcoin?
It is.
Yes, totally.
It is. PNG is Bitcoin based.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so good.
APEC is asking the question that's on everybody's mind. What will happen when there is more than one compression protocol and the phones don't support it? Are we going to get into the same proprietary BS that we see with a lot of other different electronic formats and different platforms these days?
Yeah, I mean,
entirely possible.
That is the big concern. Is I think that there's Google with Android could push one format, Apple could push another one. Sending emails to each other or sending photo attachments to each other might make for a mess. Part of me thinks that they'll figure out like workarounds, like they'll convert the formats or whatever so they're available or they're accessible to everyone. But it is going to be, like I said, it's going to be messy and it's going to be kind of, I don't know, clunky for a while until they figure out like everyone agrees to one universal standard.
Right. And more than likely, if you're an Apple person and you're solely in the Apple universe and you don't have any Google or Android friends, then you might not notice because
If
like
you don't have
that's
any
the
Android
standard.
friends, that's just kind of sad. Like you should make more friends.
I guess. I don't know. Sure.
I don't-
Is that why you never call? Because I'm an Android
I
friend.
send angry text messages to you. So,
Okay. True.
But are they angry in the professional context or a personal context?
Both.
Yeah. Roger's really good with layering his anger.
Yeah, we are really getting into some deep cuts here.
That's right.
David Schertz, what about GIF? When are they going to update that? And yes, I said GIF.
You know what? I wish Shanklin was here because we've got a lot of standards that are getting thrown out.
I don't know, man. That's around for a while. GIF will be around for a while.
GIF?
Anyway, GIF will be here for a while.
GIF?
I just don't know because Shanklin's our real expert here. And if he was on, we would totally ask him. In fact, the next time he's visiting New York, we'll have him on the show to specifically talk about GIF.
About, like different like photo standards, and also ask him whatever questions you want on input output.
On really
Because-
anything. He
'cause
knows everything, actually.
He does know everything, but I've always been really impressed with his knowledge on input output. Like he will tell you the entire history of, like the lightning jack or USB Type C and like where it came from. So
That's true.
we would love to have him on the show. And thank you very much for the questions. Unfortunately, yeah, like
Neither of us are qualified to answer
very
the
much
question.
very much the expert when it comes to that
Sorry.
stuff. Yeah.
GIF.
There we go.
I'll send you a GIF of Mario. How do you feel about that?
I'm not the one who mispronounces Mario, all right? That's him.
All right.
Yeah, but
if
you're-
there are any questions, so on the net neutrality side, Roger is the expert on that, so we can
Yeah, feel free
retarget
to
to
throw
that.
any net neutrality or AT&T-Time Warner questions, or Comcast and Disney both bidding on Fox. Sorry, is that?
That's
sorry,
better.
That's better.
We
There we
finally
go.
figured out how to make make radio or
Sorry.
make TV, whatever the hell this is.
I miss the headphones. I don't really know how I sound now.
Yeah,
right. Anyway.
that was the problem.
All right.
There's
are we
the old
good, or
dynamic.
Do we have more questions? Or are we
Yeah.
good?
What do we got?
Oh, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
All right.
We're gonna wrap it up for the day. I don't want to talk about AT&T anymore. I'm tired of them.
All right.
I think that's fair.
That's fair.
This
I
is-
mean, net
you're the
neutrality.
producer.
We did talk about net neutrality a lot last week, or really the last few months, and so we can take a break. It's going to come up again. Unfortunately, we'll.
Sorry, Brian.
Yeah, Brian. Well, there's still more net neutrality news to come. You know, good news if you're a net neutrality supporter, or bad news if you're against net neutrality. So, but there is definitely more to come later this week. We'll definitely talk about it on the podcast.
Cool. All right. You want me to do it?
Do it. Go
All
for
right.
it, man.
359 is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, FeedBurner, Google Play Music, the Amazon Echo, CNET.com. Thanks, everybody, for sending in your questions.
Yeah,
we'll see
thank
you
you.
again tomorrow. And
We'll be here.
See you around.
One of us will be here.
Thanks.
Later, folks.